Hey everyone, my name is Anna, and I'm 25 years old. Today I want to share a story from my childhood, one that was both thrilling and terrifying, and I'll never forget it. When I was a kid, I spent many of my holidays in a small village just outside the city. My friends and I loved playing outdoors, especially in the winter. One of our favorite spots was a frozen pond near the edge of the forest. We often played games there, and hide and seek was a classic. One winter day we decided to play again. There were two teams. One had to count to 300, and the other had to hide. I was on the hiding team, so as soon as the counting began, I ran straight into the forest. I found the perfect hiding spot under a large pine tree. The branches hung low, covered in snow, and I thought to myself, "This is it. No one will find me here." I lay down on the cold ground and covered myself with pine branches, waiting quietly. The snow started falling gently, and everything became eerily quiet. Hours passed, and it began to get dark. I thought the game was still going on, but I didn't hear any voices or footsteps. I wondered if my friends were far away or having trouble finding me. Then I noticed a light. It was moving slowly in the distance, a flashlight. At first I thought it was one of my friends, but as it got closer, I saw something that made my heart race, a shadow. It wasn't a child's shadow, it was a tall man. I froze. This wasn't one of my friends. The man seemed strange, like someone from an old scary story, a loner living deep in the forest. I had no idea what to do. He was getting closer, and I had no way of running without making noise. Then suddenly, the pine branches beneath me made a loud crack. The man stopped and shone his flashlight directly at me. I stayed as still as I could. The man began walking toward me. My heart was pounding. In a moment of panic, I grabbed a stick nearby and threw it as far as I could. The sound of it hitting the ground distracted him. He turned around and looked the other way, giving me the chance I needed to escape. I ran as fast as I could through the snow, not even feeling the cold. My legs were burning, but I didn't stop until I reached the pond where my friends were. They laughed, asking, "Why did you come back? Did you lose the game?" I quickly told them everything that happened. Their faces changed. My best friend Sarah said she had heard about a dangerous man who had escaped from a hospital. We all immediately called the other kids, warning them to stay out of the forest. That night we stayed in the village, still shaken but curious about who that man could have been. A few days later, we decided to find out. We packed food, flashlights, and warm clothes, determined to search the forest. But after days of watching, we saw nothing. Some of my friends started to say I had imagined the whole thing, but I knew what I saw. Then one spring morning, we met an older man from the village. He was wearing a hunting jacket and carrying some tools. He told us he'd lost his equipment in the forest during the winter. He mentioned that it was probably the same night we were playing hide and seek. We all froze. It was him, the man I had seen that night. He wasn't dangerous, though. He was just a hunter looking for his lost tools. After we learned the truth, we stopped playing hide and seek in the forest. But I still remember how scared I felt that night. As time went on, we resumed playing near the village, but I never fully got over the mystery of that night. One sunny afternoon, Sarah suggested we go back to the forest to collect pine cones and look for animal tracks in the melting snow. I was nervous but didn't want to seem scared, so I agreed, but only if we stayed close to the path. We walked into the forest, listening to the sound of water dripping from the trees. It was peaceful at first, but then I noticed something strange, large footprints in the snow. They were too big to be ours. Sarah thought it could be a hunter, but these footprints didn't go in a straight line. They moved in circles like someone wandering aimlessly. My heart started racing. I told Sarah we should turn back, but she wanted to keep following the footprints. Eventually, they led us to a clearing with a pile of sticks and old, dirty blankets. It looked like someone had been sleeping there. I was shaking, feeling like something wasn't right. Suddenly, we heard footsteps, soft at first, then louder, like heavy boots crunching in the snow. We panicked. Sarah grabbed my arm, whispering, "Run!" We dropped our basket and ran as fast as we could, hearing the footsteps getting closer. When we finally reached the edge of the forest, we saw an old man standing by the path. He had a kind face and was holding a walking stick. We told him about the footprints and the noise we heard. He looked serious and warned us, "You shouldn't play in the forest alone. There are people who live out here, and not all of them are friendly." That night I couldn't sleep, thinking about the clearing and the footprints. Who was out there? Why were they walking in circles? After that day, I never went into the forest alone again, but the mystery stayed with me. Sometimes I'd look out my window at night, wondering if someone was watching the village. Years later, I told my little brother about the whole thing. He laughed and said, "Anna, you always imagine the worst." Maybe he was right. Maybe it was just a hunter or a traveler, but a part of me still wonders, what if it wasn't? The forest is a beautiful place, but sometimes it has secrets that are better left unknown. Thanks for listening to my story. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories and lessons. See you next time.